Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Could be our leaders here. Who knows? I blame Walls. I just want to blame Walls. That's it.
I'm all so
Right. Yep.
yeah. I think I think it's I think this fight in terms of blame comes down to Walls versus Freeman. In terms of just the in the political arena, um, Freeman well, yeah, well, yeah, uh, but on the state level, I think Freeman with his shitty press conference yesterday just completely fucked everything. He says he openly states, by the way, he can write notes and he has like, notes that he can read off of. He openly states that there's other evidence which would lead the district attorney general's office to believe that there was no criminal misconduct by the officers. So everybody
What?
naturally was like, okay, where's that other evidence?
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Right.
Except they did. They arrested that one guy that. Yeah. I agree with you. I can't think of any other circumstance. I mean, how much worse?
My mic works, right, Ryan? Just start work. Just start recording,
I
dude.
already did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
The non-aggression principle says that you have to be violent toward them who is being violent against you, not against any of the other people who are innocent
Of course.
to how you were treated, third parties.
Yeah, and
I
I think
understand. Hey, go ahead, go ahead.
I think the Cadillac pawn shop owner who shot the looter and killed the looter, um, that really set a precedent because there were a few
Yeah.
reports out by various news outlets that he was in jail and getting booked in on charges. So not only does that kind of um, fly in the face of the SJWs and the left who wanted to see, and
Oh,
rightfully so, who wanted to see um, uh, Chauvin and the other three asswipe thugs arrested right away, right? But it also
Right.
says to business owners and store owners, the majority of whom in South Minneapolis, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, are black or minorities. It says to them, you cannot defend your private property. That many times you have worked your ass off and put your savings into just to be able to make ends meet. And I think that really set the tone. And that's another just one of many sad aspects of this entire fucking circus, really.
Yeah, this has been mismanagement at all levels and is not only sprung 2 more nights of unchecked destruction, but it's also sprung up more protests across the entirety of the nation, in which they're doing the same thing in Portland, in not Detroit yet, in Atlanta, in DC, as has been seen in Minneapolis already.
Yeah,
This
Columbus, LA.
cannot stand. This has dipped into insurrection. As much as the Pledge of Allegiance might be bullshit, there's a cuss. I shouldn't have cussed there, but what can I do? As much as we can discern that as being uh, propagandistic uh, loyalty pledging, there's still a time where I can look at my fellow citizens completely crossing a line and say this is utterly insane. And now I have
right.
my governor, the supreme leader, the not supreme leader, but the elected
Supreme leader.
leader, the top executive of the territory I reside in, almost sounding like he's taking a victory lap on this,
Right.
along with the mayor of the biggest city in the state, not really giving anything other than rhetoric.
I know all those empty
Trying to
words. It
slow
drives me
this
fucking
press.
nuts.
Yeah.
He just says a whole
And
bunch of
I think we
shit.
all knew. Exactly. I think
Yeah.
we all knew, right, when he tweeted about the curfew and, held a press conference or whatever, Frey and Walls, saying that there was going to be a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. We're like, okay, well, those are just words. Not that we necessarily endorse a curfew, but it those are just words, and people are still going to go out there and do the looting and the rioting, which is completely unjustified. And I wish
This
it
is
exactly, and I wish anybody protesting, of course, and we all hoped for this. People maybe conservative, libertarian on the right side of the spectrum was that they would stick to the point, issue their
Yeah.
grievances, and well, if they wanted to boog, but not harm the private businesses. But we're well beyond that. And the fact that the left, of course, is trying to justify the looting and the rioting by saying that they were pissed off and they want to fight racism, but most of the black business owners whose businesses are destroyed and whose places of employment are eviscerated.
Yeah. It's terrible. Like,
it's always the people cheerleading this on who are 35 to 40 minutes away in the suburbs who have never actually had true engagement with black culture or the black community that will
Yes.
cheer this on from afar.
yeah.
I have grandparents who lived through the Michigan riots in the 67. I have a family who had to grow up in that impoverished area which has never fully returned back to what it once was.
Yeah,
They're very strong.
definitely.
And you know what? All those people who are trying to justify it by saying riots are just the voice of those who are unheard. Yeah, what are you going to make of it when you
Yeah.
have a Native American community center that got burned down? You have
Exactly.
residential areas which are under threat due to this utter lawlessness.
Right.
Yep. Over a
You
over.
have people's lives in their hands, and you know what? Just to add to it, we're in the middle of a pandemic, aren't we? All those rules
Right.
just got thrown out that we established with the Michigan protesters
Yep.
a couple weeks ago
Sure.
when they were supposed to be the end of the world, when they were intimidating people. I'm sorry, they didn't light anything on fire.
Exactly.
One thing on fire. Not one person harmed. I cannot
And they
wait.
never bring up that point. They only
Cannot
want to bring
wait.
up. They only want to bring up the half of it where they say, "Oh, it's like white people with guns, and here's what the police are doing." But the thing is, what they don't realize, and what's very ironic, I think, to libertarians who just kind of memed it out over the past few days is, okay, yeah, the reason why the cops didn't do shit in those Michigan protests wasn't because the protesters were white. It was because they had guns.
Guns.
And Eric July tweeted that video of
Mhm.
some St. Paul business owners where he's basically like, these motherfuckers aren't going to be able to loot these businesses. And then he shows the video from his phone, and he just goes down for like, I don't know, a few dozen seconds, and it's just black business owners holding ARs, holding long rifles, bulletproof vests
Yeah.
in front of their stores because they realize, they understand fundamentally that nobody is going to come anywhere near your fucking business if you're holding an AR-15 or a Mac or something,
Right.
right? Where they know you're not fucking around.
This is utterly insane. This is I don't know how to explain it because we've had this conversation. You think that what was is a righteous cause that is something for individuals to protest has now been co-opted by sinister forces who have
Yep.
sprung up now. They cannot be separated, but you can take a look at it and see how exactly this shit is playing out here.
Yep.
This isn't BLM. I try to tell my grandparents this. They are unconvinced at the moment, but I try to tell them, look, I don't think this is on them this time. I think that there is some
It's
Antifa cells
it's exactly.
finally jumped on the opportunity, and you know what? Off we go. In DC, in Atlanta, it's all white suburbanites.
And
All probably profess communists with he, him, she, her, it, z, zai, zo, som, zoom, do, re,
Richter, I think you forgot a few pronouns. Ryan, did you want to chime in here?
maybe.
I mean, I'm just scoping around for different live footage down in the area and
Okay,
throwing
and-
it up on the screen. Does
and-
everything sound good? And can you see all this, J-Rick?
Yeah, I can see it on your guys' screen.
Oh.
I can see it a bit. Yep.
Okay.
I'm also tuning into a couple of other things myself, trying to just keep up with what's going on. But
Yeah.
For sure.
what an abject failure. I keep coming
Right.
back to it.
I think on a fundamental.
And you know what? One more point on this.
Go for it.
Said, as soon as they arrested that guy today, all it takes is one more burned out building. One more. Because now the suspension of justice has started to spin the wheel. We criticize, and rightfully so, criticize the city of Minneapolis for not taking care of this sooner. But you know what? They did it. So now we have to wait for the suspension. One building got lit up, or God forbid, and I cannot wait to see these numbers and see them get justified.
Oh my God.
One rape happened, or if one murder happened, forget assault, because during riots, that's historically speaking prime time to really get away with some shit. So
Yep.
sinister elements.
Well, robbery seems to be the top thing for everybody right now.
Yep.
That seems to be the top thing, but that's always the top thing. Underneath the surface, it's always something worse. Every
Yeah.
city do you find that
I
has
s-
ever gotten razed
there's that
from,
crazy
or
there's
has had open rebellions, had something like this?
there's that crazy picture
Like,
of
it's a,
I saw on Twitter where this lady said her friend took a screenshot from a bridge, I think 94 East or whatever, in Hudson, and obviously it's shitty grain, like grainy
Yeah, I
photo,
saw that
low,
one.
like high ISO, whatever, not good clarity, but it's at night. It's like around 11 or 12, so the rest of the sky is dark, and then you just see this red plume, these red flames from Minneapolis, all the way from Hudson, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, at least
And
30 miles away.
yeah,
that's so wild.
this is
It's
unacceptable
fucking fathomable.
leadership. You know what? I, I don't want to get into anything else other than the events that are playing out.
Yeah.
I want to simply stay on the analysis of what we've seen because I've already mocked enough people at events.
Tearing
sure.
them up.
Done that. I've
Wow.
had one hell of a last couple of days.
That's every shit poster.
Who supported
Yeah.
this, but will never ever donate a dime
I know.
cleaning up this city.
Yep.
I know.
Donate anything. I don't even live in Minneapolis anymore.
And that's also
It's not my problem.
and that's also on the right when it comes to like criminal justice and community policing, drug war. And that goes without saying, like, for our viewers who are tuning into this episode, it's universal that what the cops did was fucked up, and we want to see them convicted and in prison. Nobody is disputing that. But
Yeah.
however, for some reason, the left is attempting, and I would argue somewhat successfully, to justify like all the looting and rioting and shit that's happening, when anybody with a moral compass or a moral landscape knows that, you know, burning private property, especially not state-owned property, there's a big difference, but private property and small business owners, or the private properties and restaurants and bars, the small business owners, is ethical. That's what they're trying to push. And all of us know, all three of us know, that's obviously morally abhorrent and immoral, but they're trying to justify it because that's just what comes with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And obviously, it would have made sense to arrest those 4 ass clowns right away. So that way, even from the state's perspective, they could have said, hey, we're doing the right thing and taking these guys to court pending charges. Mike Freeman, the Hennepin County District Attorney, could have said that right away, arrested
Right.
them, and then filed charges. But instead, he waited until today when things built up, which
Yeah.
didn't help. But if he had done that right away and just arrested them and charged them, then whoever loots and riots is even less justified in doing so at that point than they would have been.
Right. He took too long.
Yeah, exactly. He
Dude.
dragged his fucking dick.
Like you're acting
He drank his dick.
makes you different, acting like you're acting from the very things that you're trying to criticize and change.
Yep. And today
Makes you different.
yesterday the press conference with Freeman, when he said we have ample evidence to charge Chauvin with third-degree murder
Yeah,
and
right.
second-degree manslaughter. Well, many of the reporters, I watched that, and many of us did. We watched that, and many of the reporters asked, well, what evidence do you have now that you didn't have
what
a
is
few
it?
days ago when everybody was watching that video of George Floyd being murdered and suffocated?
Yeah.
Like, what changed? He said, this is exceedingly fast, or whatever. Like, we're moving at an unprecedented pace.
Exceedingly fast when you have to deal with a police union.
Yeah.
That is the code.
And even, yeah, exactly. And even unions across the country are coming out against us. Nobody is supporting the officers, which is unprecedented because there's always a few bootlickers here and there who are like, we need to be back in the badge and back in the thin blue
right.
line and back in our officers.
I'm gonna grab something for you here, and I'm gonna share it with you.
Okay.
Alright, if I just put.
I gotta go to the bathroom quick, dude.
Is that
All right.
where
Yeah.
put it?
You can send on Discord, Facebook, whatever.
Okay, we'll do it on the book, and then you can pull it up here. This is insane.
put this over here.
Look at that. Yeah. You gotta look at that. I'm about to.
Jesus Christ, man. This fucking shit.
Can you believe that? Where did those bricks come from?
Oh, it's loading. Here we go. What do we got?
Watch that. This is insane.
Those. What?
Turn it on. Turn it on. The volume up.
Alright, I got it turned up.
Drag it right back. You need to hear this from the beginning. This is insane. The agitators are planting bricks.
What did he say?
In the whole sky, found these bricks out of nowhere. Just found them laying around Dallas. Bricks got planted in Dallas, Texas.
This is a setup.
If this guy would, he thinks it's set up. How is he wrong? Somebody just put bricks
How do they end up right there?
from construction. Yeah. Right.
What? Okay. You guys are seeing this on Base Basement right here. Like, what the fuck? Mitch, you gotta get back in here. You gotta see this shit. I don't understand that. So they're just sitting there. I've been wondering, like, the the police are reporting, like, I know that rocks and bottles, maybe those are easy to come by, but it just seems to be like that's what everybody's ammo ends up being.
Pallet of bricks.
But a pallet of bricks? Mitch, check this out.
Let's see here. Of course, the bricks off the bridge.
Set up just perfectly in case a crowd gets really agitated due to riot control. No. You hear possibly angry people who just might get angrier because of a plant prodding you just a bit more. And this is why.
Yeah.
This is why the people who cheer this on
It's-
have no idea
it's like-
what's going on.
Yeah,
Not a clue.
exactly. It's like the Jacob Peterson thing. It looks like him, and his ex-wife obviously outed him through text. But is it him? Can we fully confirm that it's him at the AutoZone? Ryan, you want to play that video? I'm sure you got it up.
Yeah, I can find it real quick.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Now there's protesters twerking in Richmond.
twerk. Did you say twerking?
Just
Hashtag rise.
all right. Hold on. Yeah.
It's like that motherfucker.
Not rise.
Jay, yeah, I sent that video in the convo of the guy who was riding a fucking forklift randomly. Said he's burning and he's just riding a fucking forklift like a scooter.
Here you go. Here's the in Richmond right now. And who knows when Richmond might go up in flames, considering the history of that city. Something's coordinated about this. It all feels very wrong.
Yeah, it's too organized. I don't like it.
What are the chances, right? What are the chances that all of these protests spring up simultaneously?
Yeah. I tell myself when there's too
Same day.
yeah,
And people,
when there's too many
People don't-
coincidences, it just
yes,
it doesn't add up.
most people don't. Yeah, most people don't realize how much coordination even a simple protest takes. I mean,
I know. Like
you could
when
bust your ass and not have anybody show up. Like this would have to be massive.
Organic. This is organic and it isn't manufactured in any particular manner.
oh,
I'm just so wrong. Yeah, here we go.
There we go, right there. Jiggle that booty, girl. Ah, yeah.
giving
Right
him a
foot
show.
of that po-po.
Oh my god.
Rise. Hashtag rise.
Oh my god. What a
Please, Ryan, can you get the one with the forklift? The fucker.
I don't know where to find that one. Let's see if I can find that.
Well, you could just Google it.
All right.
Not Google it. Just Twitter it.
Governor Walz basically just said this is the largest concentration of law enforcement in the history of Minnesota, and it's not enough.
Probably the mid. Well, no, I wouldn't say the Midwest. Chicago. I mean Detroit.
But yeah, Minnesota
Or just
in general.
forklift.
According to Walz, has never seen something like this, and it's not enough. Or were they tonight? They didn't do anything.
Oh yeah. That's all it takes. Oh my god.
damn it.
Just rides away. What a legend.
So here we are. Here we are.
Oh
Just
my
yep.
God.
Here we. That's all you can say at this point.
That's all you can say.
That's here we are. You know, South Minneapolis is fucking. South Minneapolis. I was telling some buddies looks like Dresden during World War II after the British bombed it constantly for like a day.
It is now
Dust.
Chicago, and God forbid this goes any more nights because they're running out of stuff in South Minneapolis. They have to move somewhere eventually. Where are they gonna move? Where are they gonna move to? Uptown's right there, downtown's right there. They gotta get to campus.
Yeah.
We already know from the scanners that they've been calling the police to obfuscate their movements, telling them they're going to be one place and then driving somewhere else. There was a dispatch call of 5 white males in a Texas sedan, a Texas licensed sedan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see that.
On route. Where did they go? They're all armed with ARs.
Right.
Shots fired at different precincts. I'm not sure if the fifth has been burned down. I know.
Not yet. They were throwing Molotov cocktails, so let's hope we can hashtag boog it out. Oh, here we go, Jacob Peterson. Look at that. That's definitely normal for a protester.
Yeah. He's all blacked out with an umbrella.
With a fucking umbrella.
That's the part that I just don't get. Like, how do you go in with an umbrella and a hammer into the middle of this? You smash the AutoZone windows. You're gone.
And then you slowly walk out. You
Yeah.
don't run or you don't.
Yeah, and people say that he spray painted that stuff on the side. Free stuff for everyone zone, whatever it says. And nobody is on this guy's side.
No, they're all like, what the fuck are you
Usually
doing?
all the protesters are all together, but this guy is just a lone wolf, goes in, smashes the windows, gets up in people's faces. And this is where he fucked up by turning and confronting them.
Boom, right there.
You get that frame where that's where people are able to identify him. I mean, it's not like you can know who
Yeah.
he is for sure.
But pull up that picture.
Yeah, I'll
Just
pull
the
up
side
the
by
other.
side.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think it
pull
is
up the
because
other
of the
part.
dark bags under his eyes and the lack of like eyebrows and kind
Yeah.
of
Well,
like,
and
facial features.
people were trying to say that it was the guy that was responsible for this whole fucking thing. It was like the eyes don't add up.
Yeah.
The eyes didn't look right. The eyes seem weird to me. But when that other guy, you're right. I mean, it does look.
Yeah, and neither of those images are fake either. The St. Paul.
Wife has, the ex-wife might have identified him, but keep in mind, that's an ex-wife.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know. That's what I was wondering.
Not
is-
exactly the most trustworthy source.
I was wondering how much can we trust that? Yeah. Oh, really? One of those got removed. I'm gonna have a hard time finding this. Maybe.
Oh shit. Yeah, just on Jacob. Well, if you type in Jacob Peterson with a D on Twitter,
Is that? That's
still popping up. Yeah,
That's the way to find everything.
you bet.
What are we going to... Because now we're in some trouble. Like, this is it. The Fort Bragg and another fort in New York have both essentially been put on alert and mobilized. All has said, I have... There's no way we can contain this.
Yep.
Basically said that
It's a.
where Trump would have made a mistake in deploying the National Guard day ago, he now is or not deploy the National Guard, but deploy the military a day ago, take control. He is now obligated. Because now we have a widespread campaign of armed insurrection.
Yep.
They're affiliated
There it is.
There are at least 6 different metropolitan areas which have some form of insurrection. Des Moines, Iowa. Des Moines, Iowa has some form of insurrection. Let's see. Let's count the cities.
It's wild.
Houston, Fort Worth, New York City, Chicago, Atlanta, D.C., Detroit, Fort Wayne, K.C., Des Moines, Las Vegas, Charlotte, San Jose, Boston, Memphis, Columbus, Denver, Cincinnati, Portland, and Louisville.
Yeah, in Louisville they fired live rounds into the crowds. Several injured. And they were protesting the Kenneth Walker, the Breonna Taylor murder. Yes, it was murder. It was a no-knock raid, and then Kenneth Walker also was originally arrested for defending his private property, um, in the no-knock raid, and the NRA, of course, was quiet because they support law enforcement.
Everybody's gonna be divided. They shot tear gas at us for no reason. Shot tear gas at us for no reason.
Yeah.
That is going to be the point of contention for everybody because now it's anecdotal. It's anecdotal, and unless you have direct video footage of what happened every single time of every single person that was involved, cop and protester, you will never know.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's just where
It's
do the cards
it's
lie?
so complex and so convoluted, and they're
There's
just
so many people trying to make it easy. So many people are trying to make this easy.
yep.
It's not easy. It's not easy to look in the mirror and say, I have been voting for the same things the entirety of the time that I've been able to vote.
Yep.
I've allowed for this behemoth, this Goliath, this Leviathan grow under my nose
Yep.
and allow, empower, not just allow, but empower the poor behavior of those who are supposed to be by at least propaganda wise, protect and serve. Also, if we're going to just be realistic, to uphold the laws and mandates of the state.
Yes.
Just hope those
Yeah.
laws and mandates are ethical,
Yep.
righteous.
Yep. And
That's the whole intent.
the left doesn't understand that the only real reform that's going to come is going to have to involve, some form of privatization of the police, of course, and an end to the drug war, which of course they advocate, but they keep voting for Democrats and like endorsing statism, like by voting for leftists and by voting period.
At this point, they don't
And the
want
cycle
to
continues.
They don't want to dismantle the mechanisms the state has passed to empower itself. They want to take those mechanisms over.
Yes.
That is where the line is drawn here.
Yep.
I could agree with them to the cows come home on a couple of things, but I recognize what their intent and their goals are.
Use the power of the state.
It's not a dismantlement of the police. It is a recalibration to utilize this absolute, this the means of beating up on those who you deem to be a problem. They accuse the conservatives utilizing the police to take care of who they think the conservatives deem to be a problem, which are minorities, which has some truth to it, at least in the past, and has up for debate at the very least in the modern day, depending on your geographical area. But if you were so against this abuse of power, why do you not detooth the very thing that's biting your hand as well as the opposing hand?
Exactly.
So,
They want to get in power so they can force economic sanctions upon, and for what their vision of the world is, and for what their vision of the world is. Yes, precisely. And it's just, and their thought process really results in what we know to be just an endless cycle, right? The looting and the rioting was very predictable.
the rioters will be smart and they will quote move to the suburbs. Waltz must resign. That's it.
Yeah, he's live right now. I'm gonna throw him on.
Go ahead. I'm very interested. Where is Trump? Where is Trump? Is he just grifting us? Is he signing another executive order because he's having a spat with Twitter again? Where's this mother?
Yeah, let's.
Where's this guy? Is he? He in his tweet made a promise when the looting starts, the shooting starts. You know what? A bunch of people call him egregious for saying it.
Hey, J-Rick,
I don't see any action from him.
J-Rick, let's let Timmy the Tyrant speak. He's been so quiet lately.
Hiding in a cave somewhere. Those caves in Minnehaha Falls.
Right. Oh, did I pause it? What's going on here?
Decisions being made. As I said tonight, make that criticism to me once we said we came in and
Oh, come on. What the fuck?
J-Rick, I just like that meme where it says, like, it shows kind of these SJW.
there's
Oh,
incredible frustration. The mayor's pain is on his face. His city is burned.
Oh, the stream's not working
It's
very
all right.
well.
it's all good. But
Yeah, it's not
but-
been working very well.
But yeah, to illustrate your point about the left just calling for more government, getting more government, it's that meme of the SJW where it says in like white letters, wants more government, and then it shows the state trooper or whatever in SWAT gear spraying pepper spray. It says more government.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it.
this is what you get.
Exactly. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Rise up.
Yeah. Ryan, do you want try to find that video of Shoy Ven, how many officers were protecting him?
Yeah, is that gonna be on Twitter too?
It should.
Also confirmed several of these protesters are actually members of the cartel and gangs.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Cartels and gangs, there we go. Which ones?
They came. Yeah.
Here, I'll send it to you guys on Facebook.
So wait, they
What if they're trying to what if they're trying to break out El Chapo out of Chicago? What in the hell?
There you go, dude.
This is an organized riot. This is an organized riot. It's now confirmed.
Oh, dude, I sent it to you in message, Ryan.
did you?
Yeah,
All right.
in Facebook.
Towards his mouth. From the lisping mouth of Governor Walz.
So we have a few gangs here. We have Antifa, just dipshit SJWs who want to make it look like they're doing something. We have cops, just the most formidable gang of them all, and they're all. And we're throwing in some bureaucrats and politicians acting like they're doing something when they're not. So it's a good shitstorm.
All this over a crime that wasn't supposed to be a crime due to the pandemic's restrictions. Killed a guy.
Right.
Killed a guy. Started a fucking porno. You have got to.
So yeah, over a $20 bill that he may have not have known was counterfeit anyways, which is funny because all paper money backed by nothing is counterfeit and
Right.
fucking fake.
Walt says he is assessing whether and when to accept the offer of federal troops.
So he just
Federal mobilization.
yeah, it's like you're
Legitimate folks are grieving to take this back. There's no taking this back. No taking it back. There's nothing
right.
you can do now.
Yeah.
The city has been burned.
Oh,
It's
here-
been razed to-
Exactly. And this was a night and a half ago, I think, when the riots first started after the boogs, after the initial quasi boog, where they just fucked up cop cars and took out the third. Okay, here we go. This is one of the fucking wildest videos you'll ever watch.
Yeah.
They're guarding Shoy Ven's house.
No, you have to see this tweet now. You have to see this. This is
Oh my god.
It's kind of troubling. I mean, there's this many cops protecting one dude who they end up arresting. So how many dollars? That's rows of cops. There's at least 100 plus.
Read that tweet that I just put into the share. Put that on the screen.
Yeah, and it's
You will understand the dissonance of Minnesotan politicians, of Minnesotan journalists, of everybody that reigns in the fucking elites of liberalism.
exactly.
Read that fucking tweet.
And while Target was getting looted, and of course Target, a multi-billion-dollar retail titan in the business world, can't hire private security, even though they could have done something about it. They'd rather just not give a shit and have the store looted because it's probably insured.
Insurance.
But while the riots later happened that night, of course, how much money did the state put towards protecting Chauvin, who should have been arrested in the first place? I mean, that's the real question. What did
Real gaslighting here.
Yeah, I mean, Freeman, all the cards were in his hands. He could have thrown the book at him, boom, right away, or just held him for 48 to 72 hours and have charges pending or pending charges.
It's simple, but didn't happen.
Exactly.
A tweet. Walt says widespread riots across the country appear to be part of professional coordinated effort. Possibly drug cartels, possibly white supremacists. They are investigating.
Hell's Angels did a better job of fucking protecting businesses than the fucking police did, or unarmed business owners than the fucking police did today. Jesus. I mean,
This is unacceptable. Possibly white supremacists. I'm sorry. No.
at least in New York,
Opposite end of the authoritarian spectrum.
right?
Those are the communists, you fucking asshole.
Exactly. Well, right now in New York, it's kind of like the first day of protests were here in Minneapolis, but it's happening right now in New York, it's very peaceful, and they're of course by what I mean by that is they're not damaging private property. They're lighting cop cars on fire, which go ahead. But eventually that's going to turn ugly, and it'll be even more interesting when de Blasio has to deal with that bullshit on top of his other coronavirus mandates. And then Cuomo chimes in, and then you have Fredo coming in, trying to spin it on fucking CNN, whose headquarters are, taken over right now in Atlanta.
This is insane. For Walt
And then-
to even mention white supremacists as being the ones that are kicking off the
Yeah.
fucking riots.
And then
Are you kidding?
and then we find out, icing on the cake, cherry on top, George Floyd was raw dogging a curvy black chick for a porn star audition on Pornhub before he died. And oh my god.
How did we find this out like this much later?
Yeah, and
Read that tweet. Read it. Look at this. What they're gaslighting us. They're gaslighting us already.
brothers packing, man. Brothers packing on Pornhub. It wasn't even deep faked. You could tell because in the porn video, I actually watched it. I took the time to
Yeah.
make sure it was, of course, verified.
Did you crank down with him?
The lighting, composition, everything is just shitty. It's on like some greasy bed.
Spot on.
Oh, it's perfect.
Should I fucking pull
It's
that
not even
up?
possible to deep fake because like deep fakes can't be that shitty.
But they're blaming the riots across the country on white supremacists, Ryan. It's incredible.
Well, it's a coordinated effort between gangs and white supremacists. Like, what sort of gangs?
They're so hopeful, yeah, because they're all white gangs, you know? We're so hopeful. We're so hopeful you fucking idiots haven't been paying attention to what's been going on the last 4 years.
Yeah.
We can
Right.
Justify as being the white supremacists that are doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, like that makes no fucking
Yeah,
sense
dude.
at all.
God. Oh my.
There is no logic. They'll go to the suburbs and citizens need to rise up. Those two sound bites. Is this Joker? Is this Joker right now?
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, is it time to dye my hair green?
It's
Put on a terrible suit and smoke up some cigarettes.
You got to do the dance. J-Rick, we'll go to we'll go to Stone Arch. I'll hold the fucking radio and play Rock and Roll Part 2 by Gary Glitter, and you can come down just on the end, like kind of where that wooded island is or whatever. They have a nice porch. You can fucking J-Rick. Seriously, I'll blare that shit. Come down in your purple suit.
It's so good.
Ah.
Walter basically admit they're stopping semis. What? Their goal is destruction. We don't want them arrested. We want them to go home. No, now you have to take care of them.
Did he just drop kick him?
There's
Hashtag rise. Drop kick that fucking pig right there. Play it again. There you go, dude. Rise.
Oh my
Rise.
god.
Boog. Status elevated to Boog Captain. Look at this. Fuck. That first hurdle.
It just pops.
It's like that. It's like that classic clip of that one dude who
Oh my god.
came off the train naked, and then the officer tried talking to him, and he just slaps him. better than it.
What a fucking mad lad, dude.
One more time, just
One more time.
what a fucking savage. That is a Boog boy right there.
Ugh.
Jesus Christ. Again, it operate when we laugh at that stuff under the auspice that the cop isn't going to shoot him. Right? Which
Yeah.
is surprising.
Yeah.
He's probably like mall cop level.
Dude, that guy just did way more than Floyd ever did. You know, like what?
Yeah.
A lot of fucking people ever do that get shot by the police.
Yeah.
And then when he eventually somehow gets arrested, he'll get arrested faster than fucking Chauvin did.
Oh, Gary said something.
Who cares? I'm joking. I'm joking.
These folks will blend in.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, what?
No. Are you fucking kidding me? Look at that fucking tweet.
So this is where we're at
What
now.
kind
We're
of
just
cartels are they? Are they brown? Are they black? Are they white? Are you assuming their skin color and race?
right. This is what's happening right now. As they're thinking everybody's asleep, right? When we can't stop paying attention to this shit as it's 2:30 in the morning. And they're just going to change the narrative overnight. Everybody's going to wake up and they're going to be like, you guys, guess what we figured out in the middle of the fucking night? It's white supremacists that in cartels that coordinated together, and you're not going to tell because these folks blend in. Like, what?
Just assume.
Yeah. We're we've been
Goddamn, Jerry, I'm gonna piss my pants.
I've been watching.
I can't see it.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah. It's like it's like the guy that they took a picture of a guy and you can see he's got an earpiece on under his hat. That was probably the white supremacist, right?
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
Wild. The left wants to accuse people of gaslighting?
And just dumb conspiracy theories. I think the left takes the fucking cake in this one.
Oh my god! I got ridiculed for thinking coronavirus was a bioweapon.
Dude.
They're gonna try to pick him up on a
No,
white
dude.
nationalist
Dude,
front with that operating underneath the
Yeah.
surface of a protest regarding a black man that was killed by a supposedly systematically racist institution.
No. J-Rick, the 5G/coronavirus
Yeah.
hypothesis conspiracy has more validity than this fucking screenshot. Or like this conspiracy contained within this screenshot.
4 years we've watched this. 4 years we've paid attention. What do you mean you think it's the white supremacists?
No, look at what it says below it. Minnesota Department of, did you read that, Ryan?
What do we
Minnesota
got?
Department of Public Safety spokesperson. We've got intel reports that have been confirmed, but I cannot say we have confirmed we have cells of white supremacists.
Losing my mind. Are you
On all of the police scanners, on all of like the live video I've watched, like
because the police were really difficult to fool when they were calling them up and saying, yeah, we'll be at Target when they're burning down an auto zone the other side of town. Yeah, they were really tough to stump.
I don't buy it. How are we just saying that? There was just white supremacists that went and torched the entire city along with the cartels.
Cartels.
They're the ones that are robbing the semis. Okay.
Maybe it's a drug deal, in the middle of the fucking
Yeah.
highway with the entire nation and world watching.
Yeah, it's more of like
Now that he said white supremacist, now he's gonna call Trump then.
Pull up Trump's tweet where it says Trump 2020 hashtag. Like it's one of his latest tweets. It's so fucking ridiculous.
I'll give you the link here. All the replies under that follow-up tweet that you saw in the screenshot are just golden. Oh my god.
It's the one where they list all the Democratic leaders in position. Right there, that one.
yeah, no Antifa, just white supremacists.
Just says,
The left never mentions them.
right, is there any way you can bring that up to the screen? Full screen on TV or wherever?
Ellison, that little picture he took of the Antifa playbook, oh, that's coming back to bite them in the ass.
And then on top, Trump says,
Fucking internet.
"It's time for a change." Hashtag Trump 2020. Talking about the fucking.
They're blaming white people for this. If it isn't just so
It's 400 years of slavery,
God. Oh, Jesus.
like Frey and Wall said. Look at all that poor ass business owner. Fuck.
Yeah.
God damn. But for his GoFundMe, last time I saw it was over $355,000, so that's nice. I mean, but that's not for every small business owner who had his business destroyed.
I know. Can we talk about the perceived notion of having confirmed intel, but you can't say it's confirmed?
Yeah.
That
It's a little ridiculous.
contradiction.
Here's what a good friend of ours was going to tweet. He messaged me this, but he didn't want to tweet it or didn't want to post it. Whatever. Understandably, he has his own business. He messaged me this and he had it ready to go, so it's like a screenshot. It says some of the best music ever made came out of hard times like these, but those days are over. The next single that comes out will probably be Cardi B singing about getting her asshole bleached.
Oh my god.
Goddamn.
supposed goal that they had for this protest is completed. Guy's arrested.
Yeah.
The one guy they wanted, they really
Well, and
wanted.
it sucks too because
Get the other.
with all the footage and like social media, everything that's being like focused in on the riots that are going on in Minneapolis and various cities. The peaceful riots, it was peaceful initially and it took a day, day and a half for it to become violent. But once it becomes violent, then the peaceful protesters can't be seen because they don't want to fucking be out there, obviously. And that's understandable. So then the media can just say, oh, look, it's all people who are looting and rioting. And it's because, they're pissed off and stuff. When in reality, like the vast majority of them weren't involved in the peaceful protest. They're just opportunistic shitheads. And they may have, and I'm sure many of them have these leftist SJW views and fuck. It's just, oh my god. And they wanted to do it not just to loot and riot and stuff, but to fulfill their vision for what they want society to be like, as you were stating earlier, J. Rick.
It's utterly blatant. It's obvious at this point. Anybody who's been paying attention the last 4 years, maybe even longer, who's noticed this before us, Tucker, for example, just it's been insidious. It's been this passive aggressive niceness, wear the mask, oh, I'll be nice to you, but you kind of have to just conform with everything. I had a conversation with one of our former classmates who will remain anonymous, and he said, listen, man, I know you're nice, you seem really smart, I'm just concerned that people aren't going to like you, how discussing
Yeah.
stuff with them. I said, I can't be in the business of being nice anymore.
Exactly.
When these people are consistently acting like charlatans.
I shot you some memes on Facebook.
Masks of niceness, and then cheering on acts of violence from afar, hoping that their worldview gets somehow justified. Well, they never have to deal with any of the consequences.
Exactly. They haven't owned business. They haven't owned businesses, and they haven't known businesses or own businesses where, I mean, they have to build it up over the course of years, and then for it to be just destroyed in something like a fucking fire, as opposed to maybe things weren't going well during the times or during the economic recession or boom, whatever. I don't know. But to have it destroyed like this, they don't have to deal with it because they've never ran a fucking business or employed people. You know what I mean? So of course they're going to be kind of I don't know, insulated from it, and they can have their own surface opinions, and that's fine. But when it doesn't add up, I mean, and they don't admit that on a fundamental humanist level, this is completely unethical when it comes to the looting and the rioting aspect of it, that's when you can't win them over, because they're just going to dig their heels in. And it's so fucking sad that it's almost laughable, because it's always going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, it is laughable because I had a confrontation. You guys were kind of just joining in and laughing, but I had a confrontation with another classmate of ours. It's fairly public. Anybody can go find it. Where I said, listen, you have
So
to pay attention. She called me. She said she found it interesting and disturbing that I was talking about all of the rioting instead of the other thing. I couldn't help but to laugh because
Yeah.
all you
Right.
have to do is scroll back on the page a little bit, just profile, to see that I had made a clear alliteration. No, that's not the right word. Clear reference, I guess, is
Yep.
the best word I can come up with, about how that police force is being empowered by an overbearing government. It needs to be dismantled.
Yes.
And I've also
Right.
put out stuff on different outlets. Well, I've been Mr. Anti-Government. That includes the cops. That
Right.
includes the cops.
Yeah,
My credentials are not in question here.
Yeah.
Apparently,
She chimed in at the wrong time, Jarek. I think a lot of what that has to do with is maybe she wasn't paying attention to that, and then she just saw that as the first post that she saw, which again, I'm not faulting this individual or saying she's a bad person or has any malevolent views towards you, but it's just she only got that picture. She didn't see all the shit posting.
definitely has malevolent views now.
Well, obviously, but she didn't see the shit posting, because if she took a look at, or if any of the classmates that we happen to have, known over the years who happen to comment on these issues in the past like day or so, if they had taken a single scroll on either of our fucking Twitter feeds,
Oh yeah, she needs to
they
look at
could
some
report us and we would be done.
If she looked at one thing, but no, you didn't. You're
Saw the one thing, and it was a position that she found to be diametrically opposite of hers.
Yes.
Despite those two positions at their face not
Yep.
being opposed.
Exactly. It's not an
Right.
either.
they're not
It's not.
contradictory.
Yeah, it's not an either or situation. You can be against the looters and rioters and be against the vast majority of cops and how they enforce, these bullshit, unethical laws when it comes to like drug policy and just
Equal exclusivity.
yes.
The positions that I held. But because she believed as such, I'm just so tired of having to defend myself. I said, hey, how about you take a look through and do a little bit of research?
Yeah.
For once. And when she came back with that old snarky Jon Stewart type of response, I flatly told her, you made an assumption and in the process made an ass of yourself. You now deserve to get dragged here.
Yep.
Now,
True. If she wants
Right.
to have her surface, if anybody wants to have their surface opinions and just insert them into a relatively informative and civilized discussion, well, of course, like we can be raptors and say, you know what, like we can sort of name call in a sense and say, okay, if you're gonna spew these bullshit views and not listen to our point of view, well, then you're kind of an idiot. And I think that ended with a C mic drop on one of your statuses in which he wrote a fucking Tolstoy novel.
He writes long
And then,
posts, yeah.
which is very, very level-headed, facts over feelings, which is how
Right.
you want to be. You want to take the emotion out of it. And then, boom, there was no response. And then at that point, anybody on the opposing side, which the vast majority of his points that he made in that particular comment we agreed with, anybody on the other side can just be like, oh, well, I gotta go, I don't have time to like talk and stuff and
Yeah,
reply.
that was
well, it's
too
like, yeah, you
long.
actually have had time for hours to fucking sit here and virtue signal.
pick your platitudes and take them elsewhere because they didn't help in 92, they didn't help in Ferguson, they're not helping now. You suburbanite white liberal from your ivory tower who doesn't have to clean up the very mess that you are purporting and supporting by sharing every single justification in the book.
Maybe they should come.
Change the narrative. Change the narrative from they are absolutely justified in what they're doing to, oh, well, they actually are being infiltrated by people, which they are. But at the same time, you're the ones that were cheering for this. So it's not exactly the protesters that I have a problem with. It's you for your ignorance and not knowing this was going to happen and cheering it on. And when you actually saw the extent of the damage, you moved the goalposts and said, well, actually, no, those aren't the true protesters. To now the greatest conspiracy theory of them. No, the second greatest, because we've just progressed into ninth dimensional white liberal conspiracy theory. Step before is that the cops were the ones that were setting it up.
Yep.
The cops are the ones that are doing everything. Not only just tear gassing us to provoke us to burning down private property when those private ownerships weren't the ones that had been
Mhm.
had the knee on our neck, so to speak. Also, we're just gonna burn everything down and not retaliate against the police.
Right.
Now it's evolved to white supremacists are infiltrating the movement because they blend.
Oh, don't forget cartels.
Yep.
And they're very the white supremacists.
It's a coordinated effort.
Yeah, they're really secretive about being white supremacists. Yeah, real secretive.
Yeah.
God,
What a
this
load
is
of
fucking.
A regular Alabama James Bond.
Alabama, yeah, this is so much worse than Ferguson. just absolute in terms of like the damage, not in any other, like surrounding the narratives and plots and everything, but just looking at the fucking damage and how it might go on for another 2 nights.
Yeah.
Like I have friends in South
Madness.
Minneapolis and North Minneapolis and Uptown, and
all those most violent criminals we gave
fuck.
due to Corona on their prison sentences.
Yeah.
Law enforcement and government came up with a great
Yeah.
policy again.
And the liberals.
How many of them are out tonight?
Exactly. All the leftist politicians.
How many of them are out tonight?
All the leftist politicians will face no repercussions or consequences for not delineating between the prisoners released as like violent versus non-violent prisoners. Because if you're releasing somebody who is in prison for like pot possession when they were on probation and they got sent back to prison, and then they're released, well, chances are, I mean, there's not going to be a high rate of recidivism if they can get a job and whatnot. But when you release like serial rapists, kitty fuckers, and those kinds of people, it gets a little ridiculous. There was a story out in, I think it was, of course, California, where there was a serial rapist, I think, who got put on like a $2.5 million bail bond, whatever. But they didn't let him face jail time because of COVID-19. They didn't want him being a sitting duck in the jails. Ryan, can you look that up once you get done with the footage and everything? Holy fuck.
It's just a falsehood.
Oh my God.
It's been an act. Marionettes, or
What do you want me to look up?
$2.5 million bail bond, serial rapist, California, COVID-19, whatever. I mean,
the whole lot of them are just
if you can't find it, it's not a big deal.
See what I can do.
What in the fuck, dude? As somebody who is obsessed with cleaning up trash and garbage in parking lots, which I do in Walmart parking lots in Wright County because I'm a voluntarist in my community, this would take... This is like when the Standing Rock protesters left the campsite. They needed like industrial truckfuls of garbage day in and day out, hour by hour, to be able to actually fucking clean it up. Like, I can't imagine the cleanup effort. Obviously, there are more people living in the Twin Cities area to help clean up, but still. What the fuck?
Riders in Oakland have stolen a bulldozer.
Jesus Christ.
Killdozer 2.0. You know what that fucking
Oh
means.
my God. What am I looking up?
Here, let me try to find it first.
I
Which city did they steal the bulldozer?
Oakland.
Oakland. Oh my God. That might be a boog right there. Hashtag boog.
Everybody on Twitter saying, white men dressed in all black, hammers and walkie-talkies. BLM protesters did not start the violence. Yeah, well,
I'll link it.
how could we not call it? How could we not call it? We knew this was going to be co-opted by Marxists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Behind a lot of this stuff,
All right. I messaged that. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's funny that Ted Wheeler's on vacation right now, the mayor of Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, right.
He's on vacation, and
Gone.
Andy Doe is trying to.
Whoever just said that he was away because his mother was dying, I don't know if I believe
A domestic trip. That's what his assistant said, I think, but we'll see.
benefit of the doubt, I suppose.
Yeah.
We'll see. But this is Jesus. Now what? Who do we wake up to tomorrow? We thought we just woke up to the Civil War today because Trump's Twitter was censored.
Yeah.
Minneapolis
And then war broke out, and then he threatened to regulate and abolish Twitter. Yes, the president of the United States threatened to use the force of government to regulate / abolish a private social media company. Yeah, here we go. Man charged as serial rapist released from jail. His bail had been $2.5 million, but a judge ordered him released from Santa Rita jail without bail because of concerns over coronavirus. That's kind of the caption.
activist judges,
Yep.
liberal states, wouldn't you think, or progressive states. Can't even call them liberal anymore. Can't. You may be able to call a Midwest state
Yeah.
not progressive.
Exactly.
No,
Ooh.
that's the problem. I come from a family of liberals who, while their feet have stayed still, maybe my feet haven't. Maybe I've shuffled a bit to the right. Their feet have stayed still while the world has spun underneath them. Now they are on the right side of the aisle.
Yep.
It's painful. It's insane. What
The
is
Democratic Party has abandoned the working class. Abandoned it decades ago.
They've abandoned it a long time ago with Clinton and all this.
Oh,
All of
oh,
this stuff,
absolutely.
globalism,
NAFTA's.
built up to this moment. Built up to this moment where now 40 million people are unemployed. We already had a ton of unemployment and mistrust from working class people due to what they've seen as their jobs being phased out
Yep.
and shipped off.
So anybody who's pissed.
Greenies wanted cleaner air, and the capitalists wanted it to be
All right.
made with slave labor. So why not use the communists? They have a bunch of bodies.
All right, Jarek.
But I'm just gonna make sure that you guys can hear that. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay.
I'm gonna end it and just start another one. So stick
feel like the
around.
question is
I'm not
coming.
ending it.
Hold on.
I don't like it.
But
Okay, so this is the anyways, this screenshot of this officer is real, 100%. Real. So if you were pissed off about George Floyd and Derek Chauvin and those three costumed clowns who got away with murder or getting away with murder as we speak for now.
Come close to a month.
Yes. This motherfucker. This is not
Yeah.
something that was just viral and fake. This actually happened, and then when he really didn't serve any jail time or anything, he actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, sexually assaulted or raped somebody else and served time at the St. Cloud Correctional Facility. And so if you're pissed off about Derek Chauvin, well, we have somebody who's right up there who doesn't really go along with the racial narrative, I guess, whatever that's being portrayed in the media in terms of abuse and whatnot of the victim or victims, but certainly worse. And yeah, certainly would be nice if we had somebody like James Fairbanks to shoot this motherfucker. the pedophile Hunter Fairbanks.
Yeah, right.
So
This guy's a sick of fuck.
I just thought I'd bring that up, so our audience, anybody viewing this, can read it. Pretty messed up. So
And that's the funny thing too, is that this guy committed something that is, I think, objectively more monstrous than what we saw a couple days ago.
yes,
Not to discount what we saw as not being an egregious and evil action.
yeah,
But you can, if you have a certain mindset, take a measurement of particular actions. The three girls aren't dead. All three of
but
them
their lives are ruined, obviously.
Children.
Ye-
Children.
Yep, it's fucked up. But for
For that to not instigate a riot, and for things like Rotherham to not instigate a riot, or that young man who was shot down pleading for his life to not instigate a riot,
yep,
Right.
but for this to instigate a riot,
yep, and that's
what is the
Yeah.
you brought up a really good point, Jarek. You brought up a really good point because this stuff happens every day. So why are they focusing just on the George Floyd case, dilemma, debacle, whatever? Because I mean, we're all on Cop Block, we're all on Police the Police, the Free Thought Project, the Mind Unleashed. We see stories of police brutality across the United States every single day, and it's not just a few bad apples; it's bad trees in the orchard. And so, why are they choosing to focus on this? Is it because it's an election year? Is it because it's politically advantageous? Who
Yeah, it
knows?
does make
Is
you
it because it's
wonder.
especially brutal because there's not a lot of context outside of the video, even with the other video footage, because they actually had it under control until then?
Germany not start a riot? Why did Cologne not start a riot? Why didn't all
Yeah.
these things outside even of the United States, why did none of them start riots?
Yep. And for our viewers, if you really
Signal first.
want to engage in collective and selective moral outrage, just look up 2015 Cologne, Germany, New Year's Eve, and you will find out everything you need to know. And you will wonder why you were so much angrier about this than you were at that. It's because the media was making you, or quasi making you, forcing you to pay attention to this as opposed to that. Because in Germany, the number of women who got sexually assaulted on New Year's Eve in 2015 is downright fucking absurd. And it is Rotherham rapes. Yes.
But how about that to get your blood boiling? You mean to tell me that somehow I'm not an ally? Get out of here. That's why I have the message to anybody who might be
Community, like I said, I'm
in
from.
some sort of
Yes.
opposition of me, who might try to paint me in a particular light because it's beneficial to them. Looking at you, Luke Fearband, how about you take a look at my record and my resume at calling out the injustices of the world and how I do it, and then promptly kiss my ass. Gentlemen,
Yeah.
I leave you at that. Have a good night.
We'll see you, J-Rick.
And he's gone. I agree, though. Fucking Fearbend, dude. What a jackass.
Okay, so here's the funny thing about that. I've messaged him many times when he has virtue signal on a status
Yeah.
about like Trump when it comes to immigration and how Trump's an asshole on the border and Trump is like the worst thing ever, the worst president in our lifetimes. And like we've talked about on the Basement podcast, his partisanship and tribalism is what is driving this country into like a chasm of just fighting verbally and physically, as we're seeing here in various cities across the United States. And so when he posts a status like that, I was always the one to comment on his statuses and be like, Obama did the same thing. Or when he, like, if he had bitched about, like, maybe drone strikes or particular military action, like Trump towards Iran, I would always be like, okay, well, Obama, Libya, the drone program.
Those are basic things that the government does. The federal government's been doing that for a long fucking time. To blame that on any one president, like, how can you do that?
Exactly.
You're just being ignorant.
I mean, there's
sides.
Yes. There's speeches from the 1990s where Bill Clinton is bragging about putting up a fence, and Democrats as State of the Union address, and Democrats are praising it. They're standing up and clapping. And like with Biden now, on one of J. Rick's statuses, he talked. Somebody, one of his friends, I'm not gonna say who, brought up Biden, and I said, wait a second, Biden like co-authored the '94 crime bill. He wrote it basically.
Yep.
Bragged about it. Passed it, which implemented mandatory minimum sentences for nonviolent drug offenders.
Yep.
And then he later bragged about the fact that he co-sponsored the Patriot Act.
Yep.
And it doesn't even make any sense because liberals aren't even hitting against that. They just say, "Oh, Orange Man bad."
Yep. Oh, it's all about Trump. Like everybody will say, as bad as Biden might be, he's not Trump. And we have to get Trump out. That is our main goal, is we have to get Trump out.
Yep.
That's all I care about.
Yeah, and it's partisans like Fearbed and many others. We could list. I'm not picking on him specifically. I mean, it could be anybody, right? And it's on both sides.
Yeah.
It's on the right and the left. They're just so hyper partisan that they can't realize that, hey, Obama did the same things as Trump, and Trump now is essentially doing many things that are really the same policies as Obama's policies. And because they hold him up as their liberal icon, people on the left do. And people on the right nowadays hold Trump up as this fiscally conservative icon when he's not.
Yeah, right.
So when you tell Republicans and conservatives that, hey, Trump is massively increasing the debt, he's implementing tariffs, he's doing all this other shit, he's advocating for the abolition of a fucking private company.
Yeah, right.
They don't say anything.
I don't know enough about that. I gotta look into that.
Oh, for sure, dude. It's just like and
He
here's
just
the
wants
crazy
to take
thing.
out. He just wants to take Twitter off the internet. Is
Yeah.
that what the deal is? He
Well-
just wants Twitter
Well,
gone.
he's throwing a bitch fest over it, and he's calling for Josh Hawley of the senator from Missouri who outed Claire Caskell. He's saying that he supports, government mandated censorship, as in they're forcing a private company to dictate their terms, dictate the state's terms.
So
And Amash has like been tweeting all day to fucking try and inform people that,
it'd become like a state-run program then.
yeah, essentially, if that was the
Yeah.
precedent, if that were to go through in courts, which would be fucking petrifying.
Yeah, that'd be fucked up.
And no conservative or nobody on the right is like, hey man, this is a bad idea, even though we're the ones, the majority of whom are getting censored on Twitter, Facebook, even Gab. And so it's like, okay, well, you have to understand that they have the right to censor you, shadow ban you as much as they want because it's a private company. Now, if there was like a Republican friendly Twitter
right.
in the marketplace, that would be a better alternative for them.
Well, yeah, and it's not like they're completely censored.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the algorithms, there's all that, but it's not like you can't find them. Like we can just do a simple search and we can find this stuff easy.
Definitely.
They just need to pay for ads, and there might be free advertisement, I guess, through Twitter with the things that end up, being trending or whatever else. But so they can manipulate what ends up being popular, with the algorithms. They make it sound like algorithms are this completely random thing. Oh, it's the algorithm, but
Yeah.
an algorithm is a programmed thing to do a specific certain thing. Like it's not like the algorithm just makes itself and it's just random. It's like, no,
Exactly.
it's designed to curate content for different people. I mean, that's why Facebook identifies if you're liberal or conservative, and then it feeds you content or ads based on what it identifies you as. So
Precisely.
and that's algorithms. That's not some magic, computer stuff that's that complicated. It's just it's basically how it's programmed, and that's it.
Yep.
It's not like anything magical. It's just an algorithm is a program.
Yeah, and it
I
they
don't
can
think
tilt
that-
it, of course, and it's just like you were saying. It's not like it's this Skynet thing where it has a consciousness and it can dictate its
Right.
own terms when it comes to who do we censor, who do we maybe just like push
Like
down this
it's not
post
like
a
it's
little bit or tweet.
actively seeking
Yes.
and looking through everything. It's just if certain things meet certain criteria, then it behaves a certain
Yep.
way.
And
I mean,
James
that's an
O'Keefe pretty much
algorithm.
exposed, with proof,
Yep.
the
Yeah,
fact
that happens.
Twitter engineers and software engineers and analysts and network analysts, whatever,
Yep.
are shadow banning because he had an undercover, one of his undercover guys at Project Veritas wear a wire, and he got a little tipsy, I think, with one of the engineers or whatever, and then the engineer who worked at Twitter spilled everything out about shadow banning conservatives.
Yeah.
And so that's where Republicans and conservatives have to say, you know what? It's a
Enough
private
is
company,
enough.
and there's really nothing we can do about it except leave if we don't like it,
Yeah.
or stay and just hashtag it out and tweet and bitch.
Right.
Which feels good, but doesn't really do a ton. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that is where we're at, though, is how effective are these platforms anyway? I mean, do they really do more for government control? I mean, why would government then step in to get rid of it? Why would Trump be getting rid of
Exactly.
it? Or wanting to just control it and regulate it. That might be part of the issue, is that it's so free flowing that there's certain parts of it that are too free flowing. They get enough of their stuff out there, but there's still enough resistance, because we know how the internet is.
Yeah.
The it's a powerful tool. If you know how to navigate through it, you can find a lot of information. You just got to know how to find what's credible.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's the beauty. It's a two-way street.
that's a generational gap for sure, as far as
Definitely.
who understands how the internet works and who
And I think that
doesn't.
translates to journalism that point.
Oh,
where
yeah.
old school journalism versus
Journalism,
new age where
voting, so much of that
Yes,
now. I mean,
definitely.
there's such a divide here with the internet. I mean, how much it makes a split as far as like how our parents are, how our grandparents are versus how we are as a generation or the generations even after us. I mean, I think technology and the internet with the way we consume information has shaped our minds in a completely different way than what's been done in the past. Before, in the past, people were just bored. I mean, what did you do? You don't have a phone to sit on like you're on right now.
exactly.
People never had that option. You had to be more engaged with everything else. So it's just
More active.
we're in a different world now with different people, and we're seeing the result of it, I guess.
I just saw, yeah, I mean, kind of going to a technological point. I mean, I saw on Reddit, I think it was 2 weeks ago or last week. No, last week, where scientists made a fucking bionic eye. And then just yesterday or the day before that, Elon Musk was hanging out with Jay Leno in Jay Leno's garage, like the show that he does, and said that he could put fucking missile launchers on the back of his Cybertruck as a prototype and still have it function just fine.
Oh yeah, thing's badass.
I mean, yeah, dude, that's the ultimate boogmobile. And I really wish we would see one of those in all of these riots, not protests, because at this point they're just torching everything.
Right.
Seeing a Cybertruck come out of the flames with a missile launcher on the back of it, booging even more than they did at the 3rd and 5th precincts. The 5th's going down as we speak. The 3rd precinct has already been taken over, and fireworks were shot from it last night. And 2 nights ago now. It's past midnight now. And I must say, when fireworks lit the skies, I was listening to classical compositions by Hungarian composers, and it was my personal Elysium. I loved it. Again, state property destruction. It's a little bit different than private property destruction like we're seeing now. And it's important. If you don't know that fucking difference, you essentially can't have a civilized and informative conversation with us.
Right. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
If you don't understand that, get out.
Exactly, dude.
Well, I'm going to stop it here.
All right, man. Episode 15 of Base Basement.
There we go. Boom. Stay safe, everybody.